Natural and artificial explosions have inspired fear and amazement for millennia, from catastrophic munitions mishaps to deliberate acts of devastation during conflicts to naturally occurring cosmic catastrophes. Welcome to Earth Insider, where we delve into the depths of science and explore the wonders of our world. Don't miss out on our latest updates, subscribe, and join our community of science enthusiasts. In today's video, we're going to talk about 15 of the biggest explosions ever caught on camera. We're examining 15 explosions captured on camera. This list will focus on unanticipated explosions captured unintentionally by news cameras or bystanders. But before we proceed, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure to hit that bell icon so you won't miss the informative videos we will upload in the future. Trinity Blast, the first atom bomb in history. Dubbed the Gadget, the world's first atomic weapon exploded in 1945 at the Trinity site close to Alamogordo, New Mexico, with a force equivalent to about 20 kilotons of TNT. During the test, J. Robert Oppenheimer, the project leader, reportedly thought of a passage from the Bhagavad Gita. This Hindu scripture reads, "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." After using nuclear bombs to finish World War II, decades of nuclear apocalypse dread were born. Researchers have discovered that New Mexico residents may have been exposed to radiation levels in the public that are thousands of times higher than advised. Chernobyl nuclear disaster. A nuclear reactor at Chernobyl, in what was then the Soviet Union, erupted in 1986. The nuclear disaster was the worst in recorded history. More than 77,000 square miles of Europe were contaminated by radioactive fallout from the explosion, which toppled the 2,000-ton reactor lid and released 400 times more radioactive fallout than the Hiroshima bomb. Over 350,000 people had to be evacuated from radioactive areas, and about 600,000 people received significant radiation exposure. Authorities created the 1,040 square miles Chernobyl exclusion zone after the catastrophe, and it is still off limits to people today, despite some having returned to dwell there illegally. It continues to be ranked among the most radioactive locations on Earth. Texas City disaster. In 1947, a fire aboard the cargo ship SS Grand Camp parked at Texas City resulted in the detonation of 2,300 tons of ammonium nitrate, a substance used in high explosives and fertilizers. 2 planes were destroyed in the explosion, which also set off a series of events that resulted in the explosion of adjoining refineries and a cargo ship that was carrying an additional 1,000 tons of ammonium nitrate. Approximately 3,500 people were injured, and about 600 people died in the tragedy, which is often regarded as the deadliest industrial accident in American history. Halifax Explosion. A Belgian ship and a French cargo ship, both loaded with explosives for World War I, unintentionally collided in Halifax, Canada's harbor in 1917. It detonated with a force equal to almost 3 kilotons of TNT, more explosive than any previous artificial explosion. The explosion caused a tsunami that surged to 60 feet, sending a white plum soaring 20,000 feet above the city. There were destruction for almost 1.2 miles around the bomb site, with an estimated 9,000 people injured and 2,000 fatalities. It continues to be the most enormous unintentional artificial explosion in history. Tunguska Explosion. About 500,000 acres of Siberian forest were destroyed in 1908 by an unexplained explosion caused to the Podkamyanya Tunguska River. This area is almost the size of Tokyo. Scientists believe that a comet or asteroid with a diameter of around 65 feet and a mass of 185,000 metric tons, or more than 7 times that of the Titanic, triggered the explosion. The explosion that resulted might have been 250 times more potent than the atomic bomb released on Hiroshima, or about the equivalent of 4 megatons of TNT. Boston Marathon bombing. As the Boston Marathon runners got closer to the finish line in April 2013, spectators lined the streets with cheers. Just seconds apart, 2 bombs exploded, causing an immediate explosion of havoc. Because of YouTube's monetization regulations, we cannot display the explosions. However, we can explain what transpired. 2 brothers, inspired by the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan and perceiving them as an assault on Islam, put off the explosions. This horrifying scene was caught on camera from several perspectives. Personnel from emergency and medical services were on hand for the marathon, responded immediately and helped the victims. The explosion resulted in 281 injuries and 3 fatalities overall. Brentwood House Explosion. On May 12, 2014, the police in Brentwood, New Hampshire got a report regarding a verbal domestic disagreement. However, they were unaware that violence would soon follow. Michael Nolan and his ailing father, Walter, were at odds. Inside the house, the first responding officer was slain. Soon after, Michael Nolan lit a fire at his father's house as news reporters were there to cover the incident. The explosion caused by the flames rocked the whole region and ripped a section of the roof off. Michael Nolan perished in the fire, although Walter Nolan had been evacuated from the house before the explosion. Chocolate factory chaos. Most likely, between Halloween and Easter, you have noticed confections produced by the R.M. Palmer Company on store shelves. Although they have operated since 1948, a significant accident occurred at one of their chocolate facilities in March 2023. An explosion just before 5 in the morning leveled one structure and forced another 4 feet back. The explosion was captured on camera by a local station's weather camera. More damage was caused by fires fed by gas leaks from the explosion. Investigations are ongoing to determine what caused the blast, which claimed 7 lives and injured 10 more. Ceasefire failure and cartoon. Death and devastation followed the failure of a ceasefire between these two belligerent forces. The worldwide news outlet Voice of America captured a twin explosion on camera in real time. Heavy gunfire, smoke pouring into the streets, and civilians running for their lives. This is but a glimpse of the mayhem that has enveloped the city and claimed hundreds of lives among civilians. Exploding ambulance in Afghanistan. In 2002, Filipino journalist Jessica Soho took a plane to Afghanistan to cover an American Army patrol near Bagram Air Base. She came across the Danish demining group, clearing landmines ahead of her scheduled mission. The media team decided to cover the procedure, put on safety gear, and almost finished with their report. They were offered a ride in the ambulance with a dead deminer heading out of the region, but they opted to record the vehicle as it left. The car they were shooting went over an anti-tank landmine and exploded right in front of them. The team was taken aback by the devastation that had almost avoided them. Train car combustion. 2 big explosions occurred west of Murdoch, Illinois on a calm September 19, 1983. Liquid petroleum gas was being transported by train when it derailed and caught fire. The flames were allowed to burn since insufficient water was available to put them out. While locals were evacuated from the area, news crews decided to remain and cover the event. Sadly, the heat caused the pressurized liquid within the train tanks to boil and explode rather than burn off. The media captured the surprise explosion on camera. The team felt the blast heat wave even though they were only a half a mile away. Chemical nightmare. On August 12, 2015, in the late evening, 2 explosions that seemed to be the world's end occurred in Tianjin, China. When a warehouse containing dangerous chemicals caught fire, emergency personnel were unaware of the possible threat. They tried putting water on the fire, but weren't ready for the strong chemical reactions that followed. The plane was ripped apart by 2 explosions that happened 30 seconds apart. The explosive blasts were captured on camera by witnesses who were documenting the fire, leaving them shocked and afraid at what was happening so near to them. There were 798 injuries and 173 fatalities, many of them first responders. Beirut explosion. 2,750. The government seized tons of ammonium nitrate and stored it for 6 years in a facility in the port of Beirut, Lebanon. It burst on August 4, 2020, sending shockwaves across the nation. The first explosion was caused by pyrotechnics stored inside catching fire in a warehouse. The second explosion resulted from this, which could be felt almost 150 miles distant. Video taken from automobiles, boats, and balconies captured the entire impact of the catastrophe. The massive explosion ranks as the 6th largest non-nuclear unintentional explosion in human history. There were more than 7,000 injuries and 218 fatalities. Hassan Diab, the prime minister, and his cabinet resigned in response to demonstrations. Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. The Space Shuttle Challenger launched on January 28, 1986, following several delays. Particular excitement surrounded the launch, which featured Krista McAuliffe, a school teacher. Numerous American classrooms tuned in to see the historic event as CNN covered the launch live. Rather than a triumphant departure, a malfunction in equipment led to an explosion and the deaths of every member of the crew. It was the first time an American spacecraft has met its demise while in flight. Seeing this explosion happen on film will be a historic moment that will live on in the memories of an entire generation of pupils. World Trade Center. Extremists affiliated with Al-Qaeda crashed two hijacked passenger jets into the World Trade Center Twin Towers in New York City early on September 11, 2001. Again, YouTube's restrictions prevent us from showing these explosions, but the pictures of the destruction are too familiar. News cameras were focused on the catastrophe following the initial strike on the North Tower. Within 3 minutes of the first jet hitting, CNN showed live images from the scene. The second plane struck the South Tower and burst 17 minutes later, and the entire world watched it unfold live. Shocked and terrified, spectators also captured the horrific incident on camera. This concludes today's video. Which of these incidents do you recall watching happen on television? Tell us in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos from our channel. Thanks for watching, and see you all soon.